Welcome to Pro Tips number 45, where I'm going to talk about using Lansweeper in a hybrid way. As you might know, in your IT organization, you have many tools. We're no longer in the situation where you have one tool to do it all or to do a wide range of tasks. You all have specialized tools that are focused on one specific task most of the time. And using Lansweeper is not really any different. You have to use the right tool for the right job. And since we do have, the Lansweeper sites, but also Lansweeper on-prem, I wanted to give an overview of exactly where Lansweeper sites excel, what kind of value you can get out of it, while still using your Lansweeper on-premise installation. So they both have their advantages. I'm going to go through some of the features, show you where you can use Lansweeper sites, where you might be better off actually just using Lansweeper on-prem, and just to show you exactly how you can use Lansweeper best in a hybrid way. So let's jump into Lansweeper itself, and I'll show you around and show you exactly what you can use and when. Starting in our Lansweeper site, the main thing really that makes Lansweeper sites unique is the ability for us to combine or aggregate multiple installations into one site. If you are one of the people that has multiple Lansweeper installations, most of the time you'll be one of the global companies that has multiple branches that are using Lansweeper, but maybe you're not allowed to have someone have access to all of the data globally. Which is understandable with the security rules, but that will let you use Lansweeper to combine all that information in one single view if there is a higher up, if there is a manager that needs a kind of a complete overview. So I'm going to head over to installations just to show you here. This is one of my test sites, so I do have quite some old installations in there as well, things that I've connected at one point but are no longer linked or are down. But you can see the gist of it. You can see that I have 6 installations currently linked to this site. They all have different number of assets. Most of them are kind of my own home lab installations and things that I've thrown in the past. But that goes throughout the entire site. So while the asset overview gives you all of the assets that you have across all your installations, you can, with kind of the pre-filters, just go to a specific installation and just view the assets for that asset as well. And that brings me nicely into kind of the next area, which is more related to duplicates. And I'm going to head over to a different site to show you that, because I've purposely set up a site kind of show you what happens when there are duplicates. Because if you have multiple installations, there's a high chance that you'll actually have some duplicates, because oftentimes multiple installations will scan the same subnet, or they have some overlapping IP range scans going on, and that will cause duplication in your site. Now, if I head over to inventory, then I should be able to see here that we have 33 duplicate conflicts. And if I go on that, then I'll get an overview of basically all the duplicates that has been able to find within my 2 installations, in this case, that I've linked to this site. Now, if you actually want to solve one of the duplicate conflicts, it will ask you exactly what you want. In this case, I only have 2 duplicate assets, so I'm just going to select the 2 that are duplicates. And then I get to choose which of these assets do I want to keep, which one is the real one, let's say, and which one can be deleted or removed. I'm just going to select one of them, and then it comes to actually asking you, what do you want to do with the other assets? Now, you can choose, by default, it will always just basically, and it'll say that as well, it will no longer synchronize the assets that you choose to remove. You can also let it delete that asset that you're removing from that local installation as well. But it also gives the warning there. That doesn't mean that there is some kind of exclusion or anything else set up on-prem. So it's very likely, if you do not change your scanning targets, it's very likely that that asset will just come back up again during the next scan. But, and while I solve this duplicate conflict, one thing that this is very useful for is to actually find out if you have overlapping scanning targets. If you have multiple installations, it's not an easy way to check that if you do just run on-prem, because you'd have to go through all your scanning targets and basically review them one by one. But in cloud, if you have any duplicates, it's likely because you have a setup, a scanning setup that is overlapping in some way. And this is an easy way to find out exactly which assets are being scanned twice. That allows you to basically optimize your on-prem scanning configuration to ensure that you're not scanning an asset with multiple installations. Then moving on to our next component, into reporting. Reporting is a big thing in Lansweeper. Obviously, kind of that's the main thing that most of the power users of Lansweeper really love about our product, is that you have the ability to report on anything. And a lot of our customers are very used to doing the SQL-based reporting. Now, we do have a report builder in Lansweeper sites as well. Of course, it's based on a different database structure, so it's different. I understand that for a lot of people, that's kind of a barrier to entry. So I'm not going to take a look at the report builder itself. There are other videos I've done, other pro tips about reporting. So I'd suggest if you're interested in really getting to grips with the report builder itself and creating advanced custom reports in your Lansweeper site, then take a look at one of the previous pro tips. There's resources out there for you. What I wanted to highlight today is something that we haven't really touched on that much, and that's custom views. So if I head over to inventory, I'm going to switch sites again, so I'm on my usual demo site. If I'm on all of my assets, basically here at the bottom you'll see, and this is available on the inventory view at the moment. It's available in the software view, also in risk insights. So all of those pages you are able to customize. You can go to customize view, and this will basically give you an overview of all of the fields that are shown in the default view that you were looking at. So you can see here, these are all the columns that were being shown. You can remove any of these that you're not really interested in. And this is basically just a way for you to make a simple, quick report that you might need in the future a couple times. If you just want to do basic changes to a view, or want to create a basic report, let's say, this is the way to do it. You remove the fields that you don't want. You can add the ones that you do want. Let's go to something, scroll down a bit. Let's say the OS end of life is something that I'm interested in. Okay, I've added it. As you can see, we have quite a list here of fields that you can add. Obviously, not all of them. If you really want all of the fields, again, you'd have to go to the report builder. But the main ones, the most popular ones, are in here. Once you've added the fields that you want to add, you can simply just click apply. It will then change all the fields according to what you have set. So if I scroll to the end now, you can see OS end of life column is there. And now I can get even to the advanced filter view, where I can say the OS end of life. And I make sure that I just see assets actually where we've been able to identify what the end of life is for that operating system. There. So that has now filtered all of it. So if I scroll to the end again, you'll see that now I actually have values there. And then lastly, maybe one thing to do, going back into the customized view, because I don't really like that I have to scroll all the way to the end to actually see my end of life. These can be reordered in whatever way. Let's say I want to just have it after MAC address. Do that again, apply. Now that I have my custom view of my basic report, I can also save it. Going here to where it says the unsaved view, I can just hit Save View and Configurations. You can give it some kind of name, OS, I'm just going to do End of Life. Save it, and that way you can use it later on as well. Again, here are some other views that I already created previously, but if you just want to quickly get to your custom views, there are a separate button for it that you can go to, custom views. That'll give you quick access to all of your custom views. Similar to most of the resources within your Lansweeper site, you can also share it. So if you do want to share it, you can do so. By default now, it's set to private, so only I can view it, but you can share it with any kind of user that you want that is in your Lansweeper site. So if you want to make specific custom views for your manager or for specific roles within your IT organization, you can do that as well. Now, talking about roles, etc., let's go to roles and permissions. Now, in Lansweeper Classic or Lansweeper on-prem, you might know that or you might not, but if you have multiple installations, you surely know that the main reason why a lot of people that do have multiple installations is because they want to separate access to assets. And that's something that was also key to when we started Lansweeper sites. When we allowed people to aggregate multiple installations, we want to make sure that people have the control over the permissions over who has access to which assets. And that's where roles, permissions, and especially scopes come in. So to show that off, let's go to account management. Now, similar to on-prem, and this is not really that different, you have roles, you have permissions. Each role has a number of permissions. The thing where it becomes more advanced is where scopes come in. Now we have one role here called manage assets. Let's say, for example, that we want to make this a manager role. And a manager role is somebody that really only just needs to, let's say, see dashboards, but maybe only dashboards that are related to kind of the main installation. He doesn't have to see my in my insight. It doesn't have to see my home lab, for example, and all the details in there. So let's call this just call this role manager role, and then he does not need to see anything from inventory. The only thing he really needs is dashboards. So I'm even just going to share dashboard on follow dashboards. You can do that, create and edit boards. That's all fine. So just the permissions now on dashboards. And then we get into scopes where we can narrow down. So now he has access to dashboards, but it's all across all the installations. And I just want it to be on my main kind of installation that's syncing, which is this one. The rest are all my test things. And I can also add additional custom scopes, but I'll have to configure those first. So we're going to jump into those in a second. Now I've saved that. That's done. And then close this down, jump into scopes, and we're going to add a new scope. And scopes allow you to dig even deeper, where you can go into specific asset types, asset domains, things like that. So let's say for asset type, it needs to be equal to, and then let's say we have someone specifically managing Windows. You could do similar things for if you have, Linux, whatever kind of basically any device type that you have within your installation. And you can do similar things for if you have domains, if you have IP locations, if you have, a big kind of Lansweeper setup that has many IP locations, but you have different people managing different IP locations. You can use your roles to basically give access to, or give those people access to only the assets that they control. That's what it kind of comes down to. It's just giving people access to the devices that they're supposed to manage, that they're allowed to see. And with roles, you can really get granular into those things. Now, for the next component, really about setup and configuration. Most of the setup and configuration there's some setup and configuration in your Lansweeper site. You can do your scanning configuration. There's some, some of the site settings are also available in your Lansweeper installation or your Lansweeper site here, as you can see. But one of the things, there's quite a number of things that aren't available here. Things like, registry key scanning, file property scanning, the asset radar configuration, LS agent configuration. There's quite a number of configuration parts that are only available on-prem, so just go to on-prem for those. Really, there's nothing else to say there. The one thing where cloud might have an advantage is when you get to setting up scanning targets. So if I quickly go here to my main installation and add a scanning target, I can quickly show you what the advantage here really is. If I just select a basic IP range scanning target, and I have to select which installation, it's this one, add a target. The one thing it will let you do easier is basically configure everything in one screen. So here we have all the configuration options in one single view, and that includes as well credentials. Whereas on-prem, you have to switch to a different view to then map the credentials separately. Here you can basically just add all your data, which IP range do you want to scan, what options do you want, and then you can immediately select any of the credentials that you want to link to it. Just one screen to quickly configure everything, save and exit, and you're ready to go. That's the main advantage at the moment. So if you do have to set up multiple scanning targets in a row, this will save you some time because you don't have to jump back and forth between different views to end up mapping credentials. Then some of the more kind of exclusive features, let's say, to sites. I'm not going to show them in any detail, but as you saw earlier, lifecycle information is something that we automatically add to assets in your Lansweeper site. I've done videos, and there are videos and resources out there available for diagrams. So if you're interested in having a automatically generated diagram for your network infrastructure, you can do that as well. Then we have risk insights. jump to that real quick. Again, custom views are available for Risk Insights, so you can customize these views as you want, but this lets you see all of the vulnerabilities that you have within your environment, as well as, some of the details, but also which assets those are actually on, so that you can start remediating, mitigating those vulnerabilities, and then also those devices would disappear and get removed out of your list of vulnerabilities as well. The last big component here is integration. So now we have our dedicated marketplace. We have been working quite rigorously on a lot of integrations that you can link to Lansweeper, basically use Lansweeper in other tools, use Lansweeper data in other tools, that is. So one of the main examples, especially if you're coming from on-prem, I know there's a lot of people that still use our help desk module in Lansweeper on-prem. If you're looking for something more advanced, help desk that has more features, more advanced, then using Lansweeper site in combination with an ITSM tool is kind of the perfect solution there. You get a better ITSM product, you get the best discovery product, the best product to inventorize all of your devices, and you can combine the two, link them together, make sure that when you're looking at a case, at a ticket in your ITSM tool, there's immediate information there of your asset, and you can get all the details of that asset just by following a link, and that takes you straight to Lansweeper, where you can get all the details that you're used to. That's just one of the use cases. As you can see at the top here, we have quite a number of use cases. We're continuously adding more integrations as well. And I know there's a lot of people that are also looking or want a integration or want to be able to put data into Lansweeper. That is coming. We are working on it. We have heard your voice as well. So we are working on also getting the functionality in there so that you can send data or put data into Lansweeper. I know a lot of people use that to put data into custom fields. Talking about custom fields, you can use this as well in custom views. So that is on the way. So with that, I've gone over everything that kind of makes your Lansweeper site better than your on-prem. I've also mentioned kind of where on-prem excels as well. Again, this was just really my aim with this pro tip, was really just to show you where your Lansweeper site can have an advantage and how you can use it in combination with your on-prem. You don't have to switch. If you want to use your Lansweeper site, if you want to put your data in the cloud, you don't have to exclusively move to cloud and only use Lansweeper site. You can still use, and you should still use really, the on-prem to do all that configuration of your registry key scanning, of your Alice agent, etc. So it's really a scenario at the moment where you use the product, you use the best tool for the right job, just the right tool for the right job. If you want to report across your multiple installations, obviously you go to your Lansweeper site. If you want to give a nice overview, a nice dashboard, a nice modern looking dashboard for your manager, add them to your Lansweeper site, give him that dashboard, and he'll be happy. If you want to create a really custom report and you're already used to SQL reporting, make a report in Lansweeper on-prem. That's basically it. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next pro tips.